Hello, this is Claude. It's me. And today we're going to build a computer. Um, and I'm going to quickly talk about what we need to do to select the components. And then we're going to do the build real quick. Well, real quick, as fast as we can. So for those that are just starting doing computers, gaming PCs, the first thing that I do when I choose my components is I used to do it all manually. Now you've got the websites like pcpartspicker.com or .ca, and it tells you which components are compatible with what. But I'll tell you quickly how I used to do it and how I still do it. The first thing I do, I go to the website of either Intel or AMD. I choose my chip. I look at the generations, which one that I want, what the characteristics are. There's the website, and I'll put it somewhere above on the ARC website of Intel. I'm an Intel guy, so that's what I do. And then I choose my chip. So the first thing you know when you got your chip, and this one here, I chose the i7 9700K. First thing you're going to see when you have that is going to tell you which socket goes into the motherboard. So once you choose your chip, your CPU, based on whatever you want, number of cores, threads, if it's overclockable or not, the cases are overclockable. So then you make your choice, right? So that's what you do on the website. So that's the first thing you do, you choose your chip. The second thing that you do is you choose your motherboard. And then on the motherboard selection, basically when you go into the different websites, you look at the same socket that we're talking about, the LGA1151 that's written on the chip. Like I said, LGA1151 right here. So while you choose your motherboard based on that, you choose a motherboard that's gonna go with the socket, and depending of what style you want. If you want like ATX or mini ATX, all that, that's an ATX. It's gonna be going to a mid tower. So basically, it's gonna tell you, and if you see here, it's gonna tell you the LGA1151. I don't know if it's gonna focus, but LGA1151. So that's what it is. So I chose the ROG Strix Z390 e-gaming. That's what the second thing you do. You go to the chip, you go to the motherboard. On the motherboard, you look at the different options of each motherboard. Obviously, I want to have M2 drives, which is where I'm going to put my my Windows, and for that I chose the M2 drive, the Samsung 970 EVO 1 terabyte. If I look at the size versus the price, EVO read and write speeds are more than enough, so that's a good choice right there. So the motherboard needs to have that, so it has the M2 drive, NVMe drives support, USB 3 and all that good stuff, 3.1, all that good stuff. All right, so so that's what it is. And there's the third thing you do, because I skipped with the drive there, but the third thing that you do, you got the chip, you got the motherboard. Next thing that you do, you want to have the memory. That's going to go on the motherboard. So the memory is basically on the motherboard on the website. If you go when you do the purchase, you go on the website, you look at the manual of the motherboard you want to buy, and it's going to put all the approved memory. And basically all of those that we have in the PCs these days, it's all DDR4, and at the speed is going to tell you at which speed they operate. And this one was at DDR4 3200. So that's what I got. It's one of the approved, so I got this one. It's got the little RGB. Don't need to have that. It just adds to the price. So if you're in the budget, don't get RGB. That was the third thing. So chip, motherboard, memory, then the drive. Like I said, NVMe is much faster. So NVMe is great to load up, quick boot up on your computer. You're gonna do that with NVMe, and then after that, what you do, you choose a disk. Hard disk drive, and this has no moving part NVMe. This is just a disk that turns with a needle, and that's a 6 terabyte for data. So you put your Windows on this or your Linux, and then you put your data on that disk over there. So that's what it is. All right. So obviously, the gamers, what you're gonna do, you're gonna choose your graphics card. For this build, I chose the GeForce RTX 2070. So you always make sure when you buy the graphics card that it will also fit into your case. All right, so make sure the dimensions are there, but usually PC Part Speaker will tell you what it is. The cooler, water cooler, obviously if you want to overclock this thing, you need some kind of I always buy AIO. I don't bother with the with custom water cooling and all of that. Now Jace 2 Cents is great at it, but My experience over the years is that this is more than enough. I've got the 7900K, whatever it is. I overclock it at, it's always at 4.9 gigahertz, and it's got a Thermaltake AIO 360, and it's more than enough, and it never goes above 35 Celsius. So this is good enough. All right, so you go for price. If you want to have the little lights, that's fine. These things already come pre-pasted with the paste to put on the CPU. On the chip itself, I always wipe it clean, and I always put after that a better thermal paste. I like to thermal grizzly, and I use the Cryonaut. So you can gain a couple of degrees Celsius if you overclock. That makes a difference to push it a little higher. When you do your build, always never forget to buy some fans. The cases come with the fan usually in the back, so you need to have a couple of fans. So the AIO for the water cooler comes with its own fans. Usually, I hope it does. And you always buy a couple of extra fans for the front of the case. All right. In this case, I might put 2 in the front and replace the original one that has no RGB with 1 in the back. So that's probably what we would do. And the last thing you want to do is with the power supply. When you do the power supply purchase, what you need to do is there's a whole bunch of websites. All these the suppliers that sell the power supplies, PSUs. They always have a calculator, so you put your components, how many hard drives you're going to have, what kind of graphics card you're going to be running, and all of that, and it's going to tell you what it is. And I always usually bump it up by, I don't know, 25-30%. So if it tells you, my build tells me I needed 400, I just doubled it more or less, so 750. Good enough. I go fully modular, so it's cleaner when you do the build after that for the cable management. All right, so this is how you select your components, when you have to look for. And we're going to go with the build. I'm going to let my son do the build so he can take some experience. One of the things that you're going to do also, and I'm probably not going to mention or talk too much through it, when you do the build, the first thing you need to do is that when you're going to open the case always, you put the motherboard in the case. The first thing you do, you're going to put the CPU first on the motherboard on the box. You're going to put the CPU in. Sometimes you can put the memory already in, and then you put the motherboard with the CPU, the chip, and the memory into the case. Big mistake that the noobs do is that they put the motherboard straight in the back of the case, and some of the components will make direct contact, and you're going to have a short on the electrical components behind the motherboard. So you're going to short out this, and a whole bunch of things going to spark or stop working. So they have little standoffs. Usually they come now pre-installed in the cases. It just lifts the motherboard from the case, and by doing that, then you don't have contact. It just sits above about 6-7 millimeters above the case. So if your case doesn't have these little standoffs, you can buy them, but usually the motherboards come with them, or the case always come with them. But a lot of people, I've seen friends of my son bringing PCs here that don't work, but motherboard is sitting straight on the case. So this is one of the most common mistake. All right, so let's do that, and I'm gonna start building the PC right now. All right.
Like you can put PC building music.
Oh, we're gonna put PC building, and also it's rolling. One of the things that I said, this and that. Oh, one of the other thing that I'm going to say, I've got the Gamers Nexus, anti-static pad, and I put all my components there. There's a lot of people that say that when you do the build, you need to be very careful with the static electricity and all that stuff. Used to be true years and years ago. Now all these motherboards and all of that, they've got the capacitors that they're built right just for that, to absorb this energy, static electricity. And Jay's 2 Cents has done a couple of videos where he debunked everything. He put like the motherboard on the carpet. He was putting it down the carpet and trying to get it to spark, and all of that. Nothing happened. So for all the people, especially that don't accept returns because you build the thing on the box, you don't know what you're talking about. Components are made right now to be resistant, so don't worry about the carpet and the static and strapping yourself to the frame. It's all, old stories. That all the companies now have these capacitors that just store that energy. All right. Okay, we're doing this.